Hello, learners. Welcome to the MOOCs course Philosophical Foundations of Education. We are discussing the Module 8 about Maria Montessori. Today, the video content will be Montessori's life sketch and contribution to modern education, part 2. And learners, we have already discussed about the life sketch of Dr. Maria Montessori in our previous video content. So already we know that from all those discussions, Maria Montessori was an Italian physician and educator best known for developing the Montessori method of education. Her innovative approach to early childhood education has had a significant impact worldwide, including in India. Montessori's philosophy emphasizes independence, self-directed learning, hands-on experiences, and a prepared environment, all of which resonate deeply with the modern Indian educational practices. So, in this discussion, let's discuss about Montessori's influence on Indian education. Already we have discussed the Montessori's contribution to the present education system. Today in this video content, we will discuss with particular reference to our Indian education system. Montessori visit to India in the late 1930s and early 1940s left a profound and lasting impact on Indian education, Indian educational history. She conducted training programs and workshops which laid the foundation for the Montessori movement in the country. Today, India boasts a thriving network of Montessori schools and teachers training institutes, making Montessori education an integral part of the Indian educational landscape. What are the key contributions of Maria Montessori to modern education in India? We know about the educational history of India. It's a bit different from other countries in the entire world because the Indian scenario in the pre-independence period or before coming the British into the India, it was some different educational system, and in the later part from 1948 we have seen another educational system which is called modern education in India. It was the different scenario we can see. So first of all, our main topic of discussion is that Maria Montessori's impact to modern educational scenario in India. First of all, introducing of child-centered education. Montessori introduced the concept of child-centered learning, which focuses on individual needs as well as abilities of children rather than a one-size-fits-all curriculum. This philosophy aligns with modern Indian education reforms, which emphasize holistic development, creativity and experiential learning, because on the basis of psychological aspects of the children, each and every children, our present educational system of India has given emphasis on the holistic development or all-round development of each and every human individual in the educational platform. Therefore, in this regard, we can say that Montessori's educational concept, Montessori's educational philosophy has a greatest influence in the system of our Indian education. So, secondly, Montessori schools and training centers in India. Montessori's training program in India led to the establishment of several Montessori schools and teacher training centers. Some of the first Montessori schools in India were set up in Madras, now it is called Chennai, then Bangalore and Kolkata. These institutions have continued to grow, training thousands of teachers who uphold Montessori's principles. So nowadays it is very well known training school for the teacher educators, but from the very earlier period, Montessori training school was established in India, and now it has a greatest influence in our educational field. The next one, as we can say in this regard, that influence on Indian early childhood education policies. Montessori emphasis on early childhood education significantly influenced Indian educational policies. Organizations like NCRT, which is National Council of Education Research and Training, and the Early Childhood Care and Education ECCA framework have incorporated Montessori's principle such as hands-on learning, mixed age classrooms, and a structured yet flexible curriculum. Because we already know that our system has been transformed to the child-centric education system totally. Therefore, the basic foundation stage, which is early childhood education stage, we can say it has given more importance and more focused in the education system, because it is the foundational stage of our future educational life actually. So in such early childhood education policies, and in making the policies regarding early childhood education and all, Montessori's philosophy or educational philosophy, whatever we may say, it has its greatest influences on it. So in this way, we can say that Montessori's education system has its greatest impact on present day system of Indian education. Next, in this regard, we can see that hands-on and experiential learning. The Montessori method encourages hands-on experiential learning through self-directed activities using scientifically designed materials, because Montessori has given importance on self-directed activities. See, totally against the imposition from outside on the children. So this approach is increasingly being adopted in mainstream Indian schools, particularly in pre-primary and primary education, where activity-based learning methods are gaining prominence. Because to involve the children in the educational scenario, to motivate the child, they should be given activity-based environment. It is psychologically sound, which was already Maria Montessori has given in her educational philosophy. Then, promotion of independence and self-discipline. In this regard, we can say that Montessori's philosophy fosters independence and self-discipline in children by allowing them to make choices and take responsibility for their learning. Because if we impose the child from outside, it will won't able to realize the as a whole objectives of education system. So Indian schools implementing Montessori principles often provide structured environment and encourage self-regulation and critical thinking from an early age, while we able to give environment of freedom, environment of self-discipline, where the child can be allowed to learn by themselves, learn at their own pace, that what happened automatically, the child will be motivated and child would get interest in the educational environment, which actually Montessori wanted to be focused in system of education. And our Indian education system has also accepted this philosophy and trying to implement in the early stages of educational life of the children. Then integration of Montessori's principle in Indian educational reforms. Indian education has seen major reforms in recent years, including the National Education Policy NEP 2020, which aligns with Montessori's emphasis on foundational literacy and numeracy, competency-based education, and skill development. The NEP's focus on flexible curricula, experiential learning, and multidisciplinary education echoes Montessori's educational ideals. The next one, we can say that impact on spatial education in India. How Montessori's educational philosophy has its impact on spatial education in India. What is spatial education? Because nowadays in our constitution also has given the right to each and every individual, every citizen in India, that education is their birthright. So, which are the children which are from disadvantaged group or which are physically disabled, the education is also available for them also. So, to give a spatial care, the concept of spatial education has been immersed in Indian educational scenario. Or in such educational system, how Montessori have influenced. Montessori's methods have greatly influenced spatial education in India. How? Her approach to individualized learning and use of sensory materials has been adopted in institutions catering to children with disabilities, helping them develop skills at your own pace in an inclusive environment, because nowadays the concept inclusive education is spreading everywhere, because education is our birthright and every individual, despite of their disability, despite of the obstacles, they have right to take education. But with the average children, how we can give the education, therefore for them some special education has been immersed, and in such type of educational scenario, Montessori's philosophical or Montessori's method have great influence in India. And challenges and future prospects. Despite the widespread adoption of Montessori's principles, challenges remain, including accessibility, affordability, and the need for trained Montessori educators in the rural areas. However, what happened with increasing awareness and policy support, Montessori education in India is likely to continue growing and shaping the future of early childhood education. Maria Montessori's contribution to Indian education have been profound and far-reaching. Her principles have transformed early childhood education in India, promoting child-centric learning, independence, and hands-on experiences. As India continues to innovate in education, Montessori's philosophy remains a guiding light in shaping a more holistic, more inclusive, and more effective educational system. Now, the most important topic we cannot leave out in this discussion is that the impact of Maria Montessori's educational philosophy on National Education Policy NEP 2020. Maria Montessori revolutionized early childhood education through her child-centric approach. Because her educational philosophy is more popular on basis of the child-centric nature because of the child-centric approach. Her philosophy emphasizes self-directed learning, hands-on activities, and respect for a child's natural psychological development. Because as a teacher, as a parents, we should have that respect of the children's developmental quality. It is the first step to give them quality education. The National Education Policy 2020, introduced by the Government of India, seeks to transform the education system by focusing on holistic development, experiential learning, and foundational literacy and numeracy. This discussion explores the influence of Montessori's principles on NEP 2020 and how they aligns with its vision and for education reform in India. Now let's discuss the key features of NEP 2020 influenced by Montessori's philosophy. NEP 2020 embodies many of these principles, signifying a shift from rote memorization to an experiential, child friendly, and flexible approach to education. So, in this regard, the first point we can say that focus on early childhood care and education, ECCE. Early childhood care and education is a critical aspect of the National Education Policy 2020 as it acknowledges the foundational years, which is the age group from 3 to 8 years, as a crucial period for cognitive, linguistic, social, and emotional development. This perspective aligns closely with Maria Montessori's educational philosophy, which emphasizes the significance of early learning experiences in shaping a child's overall growth. NEP 2020 introduced a new 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 curricular structure, replacing the traditional 10 plus 2 system. To better cater to the developmental needs of children, the first 5 years, referred to as the foundational stage, include 3 years of preschool age from 3 to 6, followed by grade 1 and 2, ages 6 to 8. This stage focuses on play based, activity based, and discovery oriented learning methods, reflecting Montessori's emphasis on hands on, sensory driven, and exploratory learning. Montessori education advocates for child centered approaches that encourage curiosity, independence, and experiential learning through activities like puzzles, storytelling, nature exploration, and manipulatives. Similarly, NEP 2020 promotes flexible and engaging learning environments that nurture a child's intrinsic motivation and creativity during these formative years. By aligning with globally recognized early childhood pedagogies such as Montessori, NEP 2020 aims to provide a strong foundation for lifelong learning. The integration of play and activity based methods ensures that children develop essential cognitive abilities, motor skills, social behaviors, and emotional intelligence in a natural and engaging manner. This approach helps bridge the gap between preschool and primary education, ensuring a seamless transition while fostering a love for learning from an early age. Next, the experiential and activity based learning. Montessori education is founded on the principle that children learn best through direct experiences and active engagement with their environment rather than passive instruction. Instead of relying on rote memorization or teacher-led lectures, Montessori classroom emphasizes hands-on learning, self-directed exploration, real-world applications. This philosophy aligns closely with the National Educational Policy 2020, which advocates the experiential learning as a fundamental shift away from traditional rote based education. NEP 2020 emphasizes learning by doing, ensuring that children actively participate in their educational journey. This approach fosters critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving skills. It integrates various hands on activities such as storytelling, arts and crafts, music, and play based education, all of which are key elements of Montessori's pedagogy. For instance, storytelling enhances language development and imagination, art and music encourage self expression and emotional growth, while play based activities help build cognitive and social skills. Montessori emphasis on sensory learning, where children interact with materials that engage their senses, is reflected in NEP 2020's focus on activity based and inquiry driven education. This methodology allows children to develop foundational skills in a more natural and engaging manner, making learning meaningful and enjoyable. By adopting these Montessori's inspired practices, NEP 2020 aims to create an education system that nurtures curiosity, independence, and a lifelong love for learning, which is very important. Then, next point we can discuss in this regard: holistic and multidisciplinary learning. Maria Montessori's educational philosophy is centered on the holistic development of a child, focusing on intellectual, emotional, social, and physical growth. She believed that education should not only impart academic knowledge but also nurture creativity, independence, problem solving abilities, and physical well being. Her approach encourages hands on learning, self directed activities, and an environment that fosters curiosity and exploration. The National Education Policy reflects that of the vision by adopting a multidisciplinary approach that integrates vocational skills, arts, sports, and traditional subjects, ensuring the overall development of children. NEP 2020 moves away from the rigid and compartmentalized structure of traditional education and instead promotes a more flexible, inclusive, and holistic learning model. By incorporating vocational training from an early stage, the policy ensures that students acquire practical skills that are relevant in real life situations. This aspect is similar to Montessori's emphasis on real world experiences, where children learn through practical activities such as cooking, gardening, and crafting, helping them develop independence and confidence. Moreover, NEP 2020 recognizes the importance of creative expression through arts and music, which are integral to Montessori education. Montessori classroom encourage children to engage in artistic activities, fostering self-expression, imagination, and emotional intelligence. Similarly, NEP 2020 ensures that arts and music are not treated as extracurricular subjects but as essential components of a well-rounded education. This helps in developing children's cognitive abilities, fine motor skills, and emotional well being. Sports and physical activities are another key focus of both Montessori education and NEP 2020 as well. Montessori believed that movement and physical engagement are crucial for a child's development. Her approach integrates physical activities into learning process, ensuring that children develop coordination, balance, and overall physical fitness. NEP 2020 upholds this principle by emphasizing the role of sports and play in education, promoting an active lifestyle and instilling values such as teamwork, discipline, and perseverance. Additionally, the multidisciplinary approach of NEP 2020 encourages students to explore diverse subjects without being confined to rigid streams of study. This is in alignment with Montessori's belief that children should be exposed by various fields of knowledge and be given the freedom to pursue their interests. By integrating subjects like mathematics, science, language, arts, and vocational skills into a seamless learning experience, NEP 2020 ensures that students develop a broad knowledge base while also nurturing their unique talents. Social development is another critical aspect of Montessori's education, where children learn in mixed age classrooms, fostering peer learning, collaboration, and empathy. NEP 2020 also emphasizes the importance of social and emotional learning, encouraging schools to focus on developing interpersonal skills, emotional resilience, and ethical values. By creating an inclusive and engaging learning environment, the policy aims to prepare students not just for academic success but for life as a responsible and compassionate individuals. In this regard, we can say that NEP 2020 embodies many principles of Montessori education by promoting a well-rounded, experiential, and child-centric learning approach. By integrating vocational education, arts, sports, and traditional subjects, it ensures that children develop holistically, intellectually, emotionally, socially, and physically, equipping them with the skill and values needed for lifelong success. The next point is the flexible and student centric curriculum. The Montessori approach is rooted in the belief that each child is unique and learns at their own pace. It rejects a one size fits all model of education, instead, offering a flexible and individualized learning experience. Montessori classrooms provide children with the freedom to explore concepts at their own speed, ensuring that learning is meaningful and deeply understood rather than rushed. Its philosophy aligns closely with the national education policy, which advocates for a more flexible curriculum that accommodates diverse learning styles, interests, and abilities. And NEP 2020 moves away from rigid, age-based promotion and standardized learning methods, instead emphasizing competency-based education. This means that students advance in their education based on their mastery of concept rather than simply progressing to the next grade level due to their age. This approach ensures that students fully grasp foundational concept before move on more complex topics, reducing learning gaps and enhancing long-term retention. Montessori education follows a similar philosophy, allowing children to progress through lessons only when they have demonstrated a clear understanding rather than being bounded by a fixed timetable. The Montessori method also encourages self-directing learning, where children choose activities based on their interests and abilities. This fosters intrinsic motivation, creativity, and a sense of responsibility for one's own education. NEP 2020 embraces this principle by promoting flexibility in subject selection, allowing students to pursue disciplines that align with their passions and strengths. By moving away from rigid subject streams in secondary education, NEP 2020 enables students to explore interdisciplinary learning, combining science, arts, vocational subjects to create a more personalized and enriching academic experience. Another key aspect of both Montessori education and NEP 2020 is the shift from rote memorization to experiential activity-based learning. Competency-based education focuses on real-world applications of knowledge, ensuring that students develop critical thinking, problem-solving, practical skills, and Montessori classroom safeties through hands-on materials and exploratory activities that engage multiple senses, allowing children to internalize concept deeply. Similarly, national education policy integrates play-based and experiential learning, particularly in the foundational years, to strengthen cognitive and socio-emotional development. Additionally, what happened? The flexible approach of advocated by NEP 2020 addresses the diverse learning needs of students, including those with different abilities and learning paces. The policy encourages adaptive teaching methods, allowing educators to tailor instruction based students' progress and comprehension levels. This inclusivity aligns with the Montessori's emphasis on respecting individual differences and providing personalized support to help each child to reach their full potential. By incorporating flexible learning models, competency-based assessments, and student-centered education, national education policy ensures that children are not pressured to conform to rigid academic timelines but rather develop at a pace that is suitable for them. This approach fosters a love for learning, reduces academic stress, and equips students with skills necessary for lifelong success. Then, reduced emphasis on examination. Number 5, Montessori education discourages high stocks testing, focusing instead on continuous assessment and self-evaluation. NEP 2020 also aims to reform the assessments through formative evaluations, competency-based progress tracking, and reduced emphasis on summative exam, ensuring a stress-free learning environment. Then, role of teacher as facilitator. Maria Montessori already revolutionized education by redefining the role of teachers. The belief that teachers should act as guide or facilitators rather than authoritative figures who impose instruction. In a Montessori classroom, the teacher carefully observes each child's interests, strengths, and developmental needs, providing support and resources to encourage independent exploration and discovery. So instead directly imparting knowledge, teachers create a prepared environment with engaging materials, allowing students to learn through hands-on experiences. So this philosophy fosters self-motivation, curiosity, and deep understanding of concept. As children take ownership of their learning journey, the national education policy embraces this Montessori inspired approach by advocating for shift from rote-based lecture-driven teaching to more interactive student-centric methodologies, recognizing that the quality of education largely depends on effectiveness of teachers. So, use of technology and learning resources. The Montessori method incorporates learning materials designed to foster curiosity and independence. NEP 2020 integrates technology-driven learning, digital tools, and engaging resources to create the interactive learning environments, ensuring students explore concepts rather than memorize facts. Then, inclusive, equitable education. So, Maria Montessori was a strong proponent of inclusive education, believing that every child, regardless of their abilities or background, deserves access to quality learning opportunities. Her educational philosophy emphasized creating an environment where diverse learners, including those with disabilities and special needs, can be included. So, the national education policy reflects this commitment to inclusivity by advocating for universal access to education and equitable learning opportunities for all students. So, in conclusion, we can say that both Montessori Education and NEP 2020 advocates for a more inclusive and equitable education system by ensuring universal access, integrating diverse learners, and adopting flexible teaching methods. NEP 2020 creates a learning environment that values and supports every child, fostering holistic development and lifelong learning. Thank you.